Right tonight, and everybody's just trying to some stupid virus. I will not silence. I'm coming back again if I have to with the right to hold down the borders. We are $1 coin orders for the pound.
Fans say I'm a chip of the old block because man say that I'm just like Pop. Rebellious renegade, just my pop. If you cross the line, then you'll find that you lost the time. Rick Moore, right by the mind, that's the line. I got the reach speaking, not the time. Rick Balista, Holocaust rhyme, and not a Nia lost my mind, but Nia I'm fine. Steady on the grind, still ill with the rhyme and the punchline. Still hold down the front line, still like one time, still knuckle down, come crunch time. And that ain't no joke, no room or no lie. It's straight up a blue band in the sky. Yo, I put this on me and mine, I put this on yes, but why on both sides? That's why I'm blazing the flames, but don't go for too late. Baby, go outside.
The fuck?
Blazing the flames, but don't go for too late. Baby, go outside. Blue band in the sky. With broken ass lips. I hate it scared, but all smell like this. But life's a bitch though, and this is how we live. Shit's taking its toll, you can see it in the kids. I wish I could help Marty Bailey school, but school's fading nothing now. Jail's a fool, say a war, play me up. Sips raised me right, barely 15 years old. Head bubbing in the night, I'm a product of my environment. God in city change. If you ain't down, then you drown in them city rains. But if you down, then roll in them city nights, burn in them city rise, ashes and city lights. So with the degree of difficulty, I set my sights high towards the blue bandana sky. And yo, I put this on me and mine. I put this on yes, but why on both sides? That's why I'm blazing the way. But don't go for something today. Baby, go
On the side, blue band in the skies.
blazing the way. But don't go for something today. Baby, go outside. Blue band in the sky.
There we go. There we go. That's what I was trying to do.
The life I live is something you can't analyze. Grew up and you confused or mad inside. Thinking who the fuck are you to put my dad aside? I bet he worried that I follow in his footsteps and have to deal with all the problems that a group gets. But it's too late, I guess I was destined to move in and get arrested and questioned. But I never talk, never snitch. That's something that taught me it all. He said, son, you gotta walk what you talk, and never ever snitch on another man. It's important, son. Never snitch, understand? That's why I never will. And that's a vow I make now. Cause being a loud mouth will get you killed. I put this on me and mine. Put this on deep with S, there's no lie. That's why I'm blazing the way. Why don't go for a sucker today? Baby, go outside. See me blazing the way. Why don't go for a sucker today? Baby, go outside. Blue band in the sky. Blue band in the sky.
ghost town up there. There's nothing out there. Even the trains are fucking quiet. That's how fucking weird it is right now. Oops. I got this split screen thing going on. If I stay high enough, these things aren't gonna hurt me, I'm sure of it. All I have to do is keep scraping the sewers clean, right? There's worse jobs in the world. People die doing worse things. Worst thing gonna happen to me is if I either get hit by a car, probably not gonna happen, or fall into the damn sewer. That might happen. That might. The concrete's crummy. Yeah, there's a few of them that are sinking into the ground and shit. We're gonna call 311 and report that shit. Let them figure it out later. There's the streetlights burning out. No numbers on the poles, so how the fuck do I tell them which pole? Yeah, it's the pole, you know, like the third or fifth one. They don't just go out, they flicker on and off, so they're not gonna see it.
I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This gang, like I told ya, this is for my motherfucking soldiers. My blacks on my ATs on my real yosers. Toothless, we raise them up. Ruthless, we don't give a fuck. Got niggas on the come up. Fuck at us, then you die. Fuck at us, then you die. Real niggas make real moves. Consequences, cautious. I'm in the gang. Listen up, fakes nigga from the bay. Black cloud, nigga mage been catching since 18. Ojaro, shot me. In a 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and I 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and I 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and I 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. Yours are, run to Lua to the death of me. Just banging on these dog shit, cause there ain't no money left of me, Bringing misery to my enemies. My 4-block niggas going send you straight to the cemetery. Yours far, 2 of my niggas fat short. Just banging around the nation, never giving a fuck. 2 of my niggas holding it down, thing. Truths is a black and blue. Fuck the monkey niggas for life, and we coming for you. And 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life.
Fuck off!
We niggas for life, holding it down forever for spending the streets. Cashed up at age 60, checking months on the daily routine. Don't cops, nigga, and don't smack back in your tree. It's the nigga free, running the streets with refugee. VGI, you fucking good, you something to the sky. I'll do it till I die. Only the wicked survive. I drive so you ready to ride. Niggas for life, niggas for life, niggas for life. And I 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. This game, and I 6. Hey, I'm a motherfucking nigga for life. Hey yo, I rip this original story I'm from. Boy, I'm from the streets with a reputation and conviction. I speak for them. Bitches stay out my way. Throw me the microphone and I'm on it. Throw me the microphone and I'm on it. You see, I come up, I'm young and convicted. So that is sufficient, reckless, submissive, prolific, logistically equipped, linguistically, Ricky, he's so horrific. And the Lord bless me the power to overcome. Now watch me prove what these doubters wrong. I'm trying to make a sale, 2, 3 night bail, 2, 20 hours in a cell, holy as hell. But I got a story to tell, what just can't record of myself, my oh. This is microphone going. I said, yo.
Useless.
I don't even need to write it out. I just bring it out my life about. Hit the bit and write it out, yo. I just bring it out. I'm living like no need of a song when I speak from my heart and my soul. I know who I am, where I'm from. I know where I stand, where I'm going. If you understand that it's all when I stand up before new band and I own them.
Useless.
This is the gangster song. There's power in everything around me. 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 Y-O-My-O. Y-O-Z-A. Yo, this is a gangster song. There's power in everything around me. Power in everything around me. Power in everything around me. Power in everything around me.
Yeah. Let me smash the mic and I'm on it. Motherfucker, I'm on it. Fuck, I bless you like to keep going. Motherfucker, I ain't here to show you progress. Nigga, I'm here to show you I'm fast. I ain't even killing a man with no gas, but I'm not afraid to put a knife in your neck. GG, I rally, that's what I rap. Here for the gutter talking, no smack. So the hot stomp fees and I pop teeth. Yeah, put these fuckers in check. Now I'm in a put these haters to rest. This is this gang, we don't bitch, man. We click bang, it's a piss thing. Get hurt trying to fuck with a dick, man, yo. Y-O-My-O, Y-O-G-A. Get it, they only hate cause they hate.
It's nice, but that's not what I'm typing. These random fucking words are not nothing to do with me. I know I get read and send back and forth, but I'm not typing.
Ain't no bitch running in there. All I know is soldiers. I'm a soldier. Ain't no pussies roaming around me. I'm a soldier. I'm a fucker. BP the name and that's straight. Y-O-My-O, Y-O-G-A.
We'll fucking turn off. Like, what the fuck?
Power and everything around me.
Y-O-Z-A. This is the gangster song. There's power in everything around me. 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 Y-O-My-O. Y-O-Z-A. Yo, this is a gangster song. There's power in everything around me. 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 So I rip this in retrospect where I'm at. Where I'm at is better with the rappers. Anything can happen, best believe that. I'm a black belt, best rap. Throw me the instrumental when I'm on it. Just roll on the industry like I own it. Follow me, yo, whatever the tip of my identity, evidential with my flow, deep black outside and I grievously bodily humming. I'm a fire, I'm on an instrumental, so that's what I'm more abandoned.
Come on.
Then I am how the streets have me become. No regret, so I let me say, go with reputation. BB, Woody, Black, and get show. I hope my program relax and let go when I know I'm
gonna make the same comment for literally 10 fucking minutes. It's a link that's very controversial.
I'll be back in a while, black power. I know who I am, where I'm from. I know where I stand, where I'm going. If you understand that a song, when I stand up, perform, blue band, and I own them. Y-O-T-A. This is the gangster song. There's power in everything around me. 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 Y-O-My-O. Y-O-Z-A. Yo, this is a gangster song. There's power in everything around me. Power in everything around me. Power in everything around me. Power in everything around me.
Holy fuck, man. For 6 fucking things it shows you has nothing to do with the page you're trying to look at. That's a wonderful setup. This is almost fucking useless to waste my time with. I got nothing to do. There's no sewers to clean. It's not raining, I don't think. Holy fuck. No, don't read. What the fucking hell, man? But I bet if I click back, it erases the whole work. Just fucking post that shit. Damn it. Holy fuck, man. I don't know how to use today's computer. For fuck's sake.
Yo, what's that motherfucker, nigga? This your main, they talk shot, kitty cats the gang, you know we finna bang. You know we bring it.
Holy shit. Fuck.
You know, staying positive and keeping creative and
Motherfucker!
animals more than ever. You know, we've got stray dogs and horses and
You feel the holes forming. It's incredibly fucking. That's what it feels like anyway.
Lifestyle that I think we all could use more of, even in a healthy world.
Twain encouraged her fans to get out a little bit, but remembered or said to them, just make sure you're keeping a distance from others. The business report is coming up in 1 minute on All News Radio.
I'm telling people to fucking my whole life, don't touch me, don't spit in my face, don't fucking reach over my food. People reach plates of food over top of me like it's okay. You're gonna wash my clothes and you spill that shit? Don't fucking do this shit. People are constantly fucking touching me. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I don't know you people. Don't fucking touch me. Oh, I'm a bad person if I tell them to fuck up, man. Who the fuck are you? Oh, you're rude. You just put your hands on me, buddy. What the fuck? And they make up stories about things I've done. I don't know these people.
3, avoid touching your face. 4, stay home when you're ill. And 5, disinfect heavily touched surfaces.
They don't know my fucking name. I don't know them.
For more information, visit virusfacts.ca or ontario.ca/coronavirus. This message is brought to you by the Ontario Medical Association.
News is always changing. Now more than ever.
4 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Ask to play us on your smart speaker.
I think you just did.
This is All News Radio.
Everybody's
It's time
smart
now
speaker
for the
just heard
business
that.
report. North American markets turned things around on the second day of April. After tweeting that he's expecting Saudi Arabia and Russia to significantly reduce oil production,
Why would you
U.S.
do
President
that?
Donald Trump is now set to meet with oil company executives today to discuss aid for the industry after recent drops in prices. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin stated that energy companies will not get
This dude
direct
makes
loans
no
from his
sense.
department, but that they can turn to the U.S. Fed's lending facilities. Wall Street finished higher by at least 1.7%. The Dow rose 469 points to 21,413. Oil giants Chevron and ExxonMobil contributed to the Dow's gains. Chevron soared 11%. ExxonMobil rose 7.6%. The S&P added 56 points to 2,526. NASDAQ gained 126 points to 7,487. As for the TSX, it saw a gain of 1.7%, or 221 points to 13,097. We had Suncor Energy higher by 7.9%, and Canadian Natural Resources up by 7.3%.
Oh,
Oil logged its biggest one-day
fuck.
percentage
Can I do
gain
that
ever.
like
It
once
surged nearly
more in the next 15
25%
minutes? I
because
would like to leave
25.32
another
barrel.
comment.
Western Canadian
I
Select
thought
rose
that's the
more than
purpose of the fucking
66%
site.
to $8.79 a barrel. Gold rose 2.9%, finishing at $1,637, higher for the first time in 5 days. And the Canadian dollar was up by 28 cents, closing at 70.73 cents US. Today, earnings are expected from
Who the
alcohol
fuck
giant
programmed
Constellation
this shit? I
Brands.
want to beat up
With
the
more
person
than
that made
watching,
this
here's
fucking
Bloomberg's
thing.
Larry Kofsky.
Today is Jobs Day. The government this morning will have
Jobs
its monthly
Day.
employment report for March. Economists see a
Oh,
loss of 100,000 jobs and an uptick in the unemployment rate to 3.8%. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
At the Business Center, I'm Carl Gardash.
Northwood Mortgage people work harder to find solutions just for you. One example, Northwood
Holy
regularly
fuck,
helps families
man.
get into new homes after the bank has turned them down. Unlike the big banks, Northwood Mortgage is more flexible. Northwood Mortgage listens and works harder
Go
to
offline,
customized for
just to
you.
make sure, then type, then go online, and then post. I think that's what I'm gonna have to fucking
Visit
do.
northwoodmortgage.com.
If it's so blatantly obvious, and shit only happens when it's online. Right? Only on certain sites. lights.
Hi, I'm Sherry Ted,
Only when I do
co-founder of the
certain
Herzig
things.
Eye Institute.
It's
Our
so
eyes
blatantly
play such an
fucking
important role
obvious.
in the
It's
spread and
irritating.
prevention of COVID-19.
Who the
Avoid
fuck what
touching
they do
your
to the
eyes,
phone?
nose, and
It's
mouth.
irritating that they
Wash
treat
your
me as
hands often,
stupid.
and be vigilant about cleaning door handles and other surfaces that are touched frequently. If you wear contact lenses, consider wearing your glasses. Your health is
Laser.
what matters most to us.
PRK.
Google high-definition
PRK.
vision and sign up for my blog so we can stay connected.
No.
Look after yourself.
All you people didn't want to
Promise
talk to me on the internet before. Now you want to talk to me. What the
This
fuck?
is 6
Now that you're stuck in your house, you want to
Taking a
talk
look
to
at
me.
the
Come
forecast
over here and
across
sweep up
the country.
sewer shit all day.
Halifax, we're expecting showers, a high of 7 degrees. Ottawa, scattered showers and 8, mostly cloudy with a daytime high
Fuck.
of 9 degrees. In Toronto, Winnipeg, snow, -7. Calgary, cloudy, -5. Some snow and -7 in Edmonton. And in Vancouver,
don't
we're
wanna
expecting
Do
scattered
any of
showers,
this shit.
a high
What
of 8
the
degrees.
fuck?
This is All News Radio.
Yeah, shit works perfect until I say certain things or
Good
do
morning.
certain
I'm Jared
things. Well, I'm
Washburn. You're
fucking
listening to a
paranoid.
national newscast. Here's what's making news right now. All levels of government stressing the importance of physical distancing again as we have surpassed 11,000 cases as a country and people continue to ignore the new way of life.
Providing
The
a full
new way of
briefing
life.
to the
This is
public
not
on how many
optional.
Ontarians could die from COVID-19, Premier Doug Ford says it will be a real wake-up call.
As some ignore measures to stay home, a terminally ill Edmonton woman fears she's going to have to spend her last few months alone and isolated. A new app wants to help you shop during these trying times. It lets you see what stores have run out of the essentials, like toilet paper.
In sports,
I want to know who's run out of shit. I want to know who's got shit. Jesus Christ. How do we get the people with money to come to the store? We'll tell the people that don't have enough money what we don't have.
As the U.S.
This
president
is fucked
prepares to meet
up,
with
man.
oil industry executives today, and earnings action continues with alcohol giant Constellation Brands set to report.
More on these stories coming up in 1 minute on All News Radio.
I didn't look up Wisconsin yet.
From the 680 News Traffic Center, I'm Craig Gear. We're back up to speed, even though we have construction out there. This report brought to you by Roto-Rooter Emergency Services. Winston Churchill ramps to the East 401 block. Northbound
That's
Nielsen
us.
ramp to the East 401 is also closed.
Department of
Westbound 401 ramp to
Sanitation,
Mississauga
drain
Road has
waste
been
and
blocked.
ventilation.
And both of the 407 and both of
We
the
don't need to be
Trafalgar ramps to the
ventilated,
westbound
drained,
401 are
and
blocked off as well, too.
wasted.
Northbound 427 ramp to the Highway 7
What the
is also
fuck?
shut down.
Why do you?
Roto-Rooter is fully
Holy
prepared to
fuck, this
continue
is
to serve you in
stupid.
this difficult time. To help with any of your drain, plumbing, or
Jesus
disinfection
fucking
needs, contact
Christ.
them 24/7 online at rotorooter.com.
We're gonna try
Next
for the
report's at
second
2:41.
comment.
Here's the forecast.
Above seasonal temperatures again during the day today. Some
it's
sunshine in the
frozen
morning,
again.
cloud cover building in throughout the afternoon. Your high temperature this afternoon does settle in near 10 degrees. We'll see winds that'll be out of the north. They'll be breezy at times up to
Fucking
45 kilometers per hour. More cloud moves in overnight. Today,
Oh, I was
10.
trying to listen, bro, but the phone's
If you
actually
go
more
out
fucking
during these
retarded
times,
than
make it
anything I've
quick
ever
and keep
fucking
your
seen.
distance from others all across the country Thursday. Health
Okay, I
officials
hit the
shared a
paste
unified
button. Why
message
didn't the button go
about the
away? Thank
importance
you.
of physical distancing, with many still disobeying the rules across the country. Thousands of dollars in fines are now possible in cities across the country for those caught ignoring the new way of life. Complaints related to COVID-19 are rising. In Toronto, residents have been instructed not to call 911, but rather 311 to report people
What
who
the fuck
continue
do the
to
cops
get together
respond
and
to?
hang out. Mark McAllister is speaking with 311 Director Gary York.
The number of calls has gone from a daily average of 3,200 to a high of 5,400 just yesterday. Those who might be worried about not getting through when they do call, the phone system's director says his team is prepared and the average wait time is still a matter of seconds. What more have you had to do to deal with that extra call volume?
So one of the things we've done is because we're in a state of emergency, non-essential services and service requests are no longer being generated.
The city's hotline has been inundated with concerns of people
See, that's why I'm not
congregating in
calling
public
them.
spaces and not practicing physical distancing.
Look at someone that
They're
would
now
case.
creating
There's no
a
point
daily
calling them
log
to report
and passing
anything.
those messages along to police and bylaw enforcement directly.
No wonder the cops didn't even. They're looking at me
Torontonians
like,
now face
no,
up
it's
to
the other guy.
$5,000 fines
Is there
for
another guy
violating
in
a
an
new
orange
physical
jumpsuit and a
distancing
Rockaway?
bylaw. Quebec has nearly twice
With a
as many
pirate
cases
Canada
as
flag,
the
like,
next
what the
closest
fuck? How
province.
much more
And that
different
has
did I
the
make myself
premier
look?
there once again telling Quebecers
to stay home and practice physical distancing.
You fucking just fucking, what the fuck is wrong with this, man?
People.
You programmed it to do this dumb shit. Why?
Your directives, but some don't.
It just needs to fucking work, and it doesn't.
So I think it becomes important that the police, that they give fines, and it's important fines.
I remember now.
Between $1,000 to $6,000.
Legault cracking down on people still gathering in parks and wants police to step up their efforts to ticket offenders. Quebec announced 907.
I love posting half of a fucking story, eh?
Provincial total.
Here's something completely out of context. Because Facebook don't want to let me finish it.
Or at least it should have been. Popular apps to connect with someone are seeing increases in usage, like Tinder, Bumble, and Grindr. But you probably shouldn't go on a date anytime soon or have a one-night stand.
How come that business is allowed to operate?
14 nights in quarantine, Newfoundland, and Labrador's Health Minister John Hagee sums it up best.
14 nights in isolation.
If you use Tinder or Grindr and you swipe right, you might get more than you bargained for. So please be careful when you use these applications.
Now the number of cases in Atlantic Canada is approaching 500. The provinces of our country have seen a limited spread compared to others, but that could change if physical distancing isn't taken more seriously. Dr. Janice Fitzgerald, Newfoundland and Labrador's chief medical officer,
people all sound like you're fucking drunk. I just drank the 40. Why do you sound drunk?
All people to drag on forever. I know these measures have magnified that feeling.
Oh,
I need everyone to understand that we are at the beginning of this epidemic in our province, and now is not the time to become complacent.
For an example of just how easily this can spread, 143 of Newfoundland's 183 cases have been traced back to exposure at a single funeral home in St. John's. It could be grim, but it's necessary. Ontario's medical experts...
Yes, what the fuck? I tried closing it 10 fucking minutes ago.
Province could die from COVID-19. Madison Fitzpatrick with the preview.
Although Premier Doug Ford urges somewhat of a warning, the information
Wi-Fi
might be
off.
hard to
It's
hear.
gonna run perfect.
Ford also says people deserve the same
Holy
information
shit, it's
he
fast
has
now.
when he's making
Holy
decisions.
fuck, it's
You deserve
fast.
to know what I know.
I'm just
When
gonna
you're
turn it
making
back on to
decisions
actually
for yourself,
fucking post
your family, and your community.
Previously, Ford had delayed releasing this information for various reasons, but said medical experts will now provide a public briefing. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Thursday night he's not able to share a national picture just yet, but will be able to soon. Currently in the province, there are more than 2,700 confirmed cases and over 50 deaths. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. David Williams, agrees with the Premier that it's time for people to see this data for themselves.
I think people have to understand that because it's feeling that if people see what might be possible, could be possible, and what we might achieve through ongoing energy and efforts of public health measures, physical distancing, it means we need to stay at the task and to do our part to flatten the curve and impact that and change that projection as best we can.
Ontario is reporting 16 new deaths from COVID-19, bringing the provincial total to 53. That's the highest in the country. 405 people are hospitalized in that province, including 167 in intensive care, with 112 of those people on ventilators. A terminally ill Edmonton woman fears she might have to spend the rest of her life in isolation. Rochelle Sufi has her story.
Leukemia has left Jocelyn Loken with less than 4 months to live.
I don't want to live in isolation, but I don't want to die in isolation.
With terminal cancer, she knew exactly what she wanted to do with the little time she had.
I have tickets to go see Bikini Hill in Montreal in May. And I've been planning on doing a lot of camping over the summer and visiting friends and family.
The Loken's plans were crushed after finding out she was at high risk.
I swear, that's a whole amount. I wasn't there 10 minutes ago.
I can't take a chance of getting COVID-19. I don't have an immune system. I don't have any white blood cells.
I have a compromised immune
urging
system.
people to take the pandemic seriously in hopes it ends quickly so she doesn't have to spend the rest of her life in self-isolation.
I'd like to get out of here, and I'd like to have a fun summer.
Rochelle Sufi, City News.
Going out and buying groceries or other household items is a real pain nowadays with lineups to get in and shelves sometimes empty. There's no guarantee you'll get all you want.
Every time I saw a
But a
picture,
new
they said,
app
"Oh, the
is trying
shelves
to
are empty." You look in the
solve the
background, there's
struggle for
shit
you.
on all the shelves.
Brenda Fatour joins us
The one
with
had
details.
all
Local and
Ziploc bags on
international
one side and
designers
Lysol
developers have
products
been
on the other.
waiting for Zoom video
What? How are
conferencing
you
to
sold out
create
anything
COVID
if you got those
maps.
items?
It's a web-based app that lets users flag essential businesses and share what their shopping experience was like.
I myself don't
They're out
know
of
where
chicken
to go to
dogs,
get
but
some
they
of
got
these things.
beef dogs.
And so one of those
Come
things
on.
products that are good.
There's a limit on the bacon.
The
4
group is
per
dedicating
family.
their spare
Wow,
time
we're
after their day
hurting,
jobs to
we're
further
hurting. You can only
develop the
buy
app.
4 packs
So
of
far,
bacon,
it's up and running and only took the developers 1 week.
It's actually
I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know if they'll let you buy the
the
fifth one at the
latest
regular
on
price or
essential
what. But
services
like,
around you.
The
That's
8-person
hard.
team has people
That's
from
hard to
Vancouver,
keep a family
San
of
Francisco,
only
and
4
Bangalore,
packs,
India.
right?
To access the map, enter covidmaps.in on a desktop or mobile phone. Then search for your neighborhood. In Richmond, Miranda Fatour, City News.
You're listening to All News Radio, a national newscast.
Every time you spend some cash, you get some cash back with the Dividend Visa Infinite Card. Every time, with no limit on how much you can earn. You even earn.
You see the bumps popping up,
when it comes to
man.
those necessary purchases like gas and groceries, you get 4% cash back on eligible purchases. 4%.
I'm breaking the weeds, broke it up. We're
First
gonna
year's
roll it.
annual fee is on us.
Motherfucker!
The CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite Card. Conditions apply. Learn more at CIBC.com/cashback.
Hi, I'm Anthony Longo. Our family has been proud to serve Ontarians for over 60 years. And like your family, we're doing our best to stay positive during these challenging times.
Ow!
I'd like to thank all our team members for their continued commitment to serving our community. And I'm grateful to our loyal guests for being patient with us and with each other while we do our best to keep our shelves stocked, our stores clean, and our community safe.
You're supposed to do that anyway. A proactive business owner will do that anyway. If you're not doing that, you're inviting trouble.
Big story. I'm your host, Jordan Heath Rawlings. We tell stories of Canadians in self-isolation. Listen at thebigstorypodcast.ca or wherever you get
Ow!
your podcasts.
Motherfucker!
From the 680 News Traffic Center,
It's
I'm Craig
fucking
Gear.
frozen
There's construction out there.
Jesus
One stone
fucking
vehicle.
Christ,
The stone is on the westbound 401 at Islington and the Express. The right lane's blocked, but we're moving up to speed.
I missed the sweet spot. The version of the app I had 2 weeks ago
We booked the 407 and both the Trafalgar ramps to and from the westbound 401 now shut down. The only ramp that's blocked along the eastbound 401 is the Winston Churchill ramps onto the highway eastbound 401. The transfer into the collectors north of Burnhamthorpe on the northbound 427 remains blocked off, as well as the ramp to Highway 7. Your next traffic report is coming up at 2:51. Time now to check the forecast.
A clear morning and a partly cloudy afternoon. Daytime highs above seasonal again, 10 degrees in the forecast. We have a north wind that'll be up to 45 kilometers per hour. Bit more cloud cover on the way throughout the overnight. 4 degrees the morning low. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy for most of the day. A few peaks of sunshine, a high of 11. Today, 10.
Vet clinics and animal hospitals have been deemed an essential service, but many across the country are still closed. Brandon Rowe joins us with some tips on how to keep you and your pet safe during these times.
I'm forgetting what I'm trying to fucking type and shit because it's like not.
When they're in the parking lot to let us know they've arrived. We
that's
then
not what I
go
wanted
out,
out
get
there.
all their information regarding the issue with their pet.
At this time, the CDC says there is no evidence that companion animals, including pets, can spread COVID-19.
Really,
because
because
all animals
the
can
fucking
carry germs that can make people
newspapers in
sick.
fucking London,
always a good idea
UK
to
said that
practice
some
healthy
dog
habits around
spread it to
pets
some
and other
woman that
animals.
died.
The CDC says if you are sick with COVID-19,
I
either
don't know what's
suspected or
true. I don't know.
confirmed, you should restrict contact with pets and
This
other
is
animals,
why
just
is
like
it
you
so
would
fucking
around
weird?
other people. Brandon Rose
Because
City
you got
News.
sickle cell, stupid,
This
and
is All News
B19. It's
Radio.
never gonna stop. It's never gonna fucking stop.
To know
The latest breaking news, traffic, and weather.
turn to 680 News.
That's why I don't want these motherfuckers close to me. I'll keep getting sick over and over. Nothing to do with COVID-19. I'm gonna keep.
So we've
I
made
was
changes
sick
to
45
serve you
out of 80
better in
days
times
last
like
fucking
these.
winter.
That's why our
No, that's
drive-thrus
no
are
good.
ready to take your order with
Different
minimal contact.
colds or
Tim
some shit.
Hortons. Proud
proudly serving our communities.
Everyone can do their part to slow COVID-19. Wash your hands thoroughly and often with soap and water. Practice physical distancing and stay home if you're sick. If concerned you have symptoms, you can take Ontario's online self-assessment to learn if you need to seek care. The most common symptoms of COVID-19 are fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. And if you've been exposed to COVID-19,
smell what they had for
or have traveled outside Canada, you should self-isolate for 14 days. Visit ontario.ca/coronavirus for more information. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
At Tim Hortons, we're proud to serve all of our communities across Canada.
We're going to be like
And we're thinking about
500
you.
billion in
That's why
debt.
we've made
No
some
time.
changes recently. So for a limited time, we're offering you free delivery from Uber Eats.
400
Skip
for
the
sure.
dishes.
500
Tim
maybe.
Hortons,
I should bet
proudly
somebody.
serving
I
our
just take a
communities.
fool.
This is All News Radio.
Good morning. I'm Jared Launchbury. You're listening to a national newscast. Here's what's making news right now. We've surpassed 11,000 COVID-19 cases as a country with 138 killed. And the worst could still be ahead, especially if the small minority doesn't catch on to physical distancing. All levels of government stressing its importance to stop spread and save lives on Thursday. Fines now being issued in some of Canada's major cities, including Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver.
I knew they had the
Ontario
authority. I
is getting
knew like
ready to
there's a
provide
point
grim
where the
Friday
military can
forecast.
come and
It
say
will be
you
releasing
cannot mix with
projections
anybody because
for
you're
how
sick
many
as
people
fuck.
in that
They're not
province
gonna
could
kill
be
you,
killed
but
by
you can't mix
COVID-19
with
when all is
anybody.
said
I
and
know
done.
they can do
The
that.
federal government says its projections could come soon.
The charter basically says that. Your rights can't impede anybody else's. If I'm a health hazard to everybody, I'm not being a health hazard. Somebody has to kick that shit out of there. And when I do it, I'm stirring shit up. So if somebody wasn't infected, take all the drinks and cups and bottles and shit on the ground.
This could also include a condensed playoff tournament, while holding all games in a single city would allow teams to play within the confines of a quarantine and eliminate the need for travel. The NBA was the first major professional league in North America to suspend its season due to COVID-19 concerns. According to Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver saw this coming weeks before the stoppage.
We had gone for an NBA Africa board meeting, and it was about 5 or 6 of us in the room, and he told us where this was going, you know, like, and what he was hearing, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, is he like overreacting, or is he, you know, and
I don't owe nobody no
But the
$5
NHL remains on pause, and with these uncertain times, lots of questions arise, like what this means for next year's cap space, along with transactions made earlier this season. And according to Sportsnet's Chris Johnston, the league will have a tough time circumventing around this.
You know, especially ones made just at, you know, around February 24th, the deadline. You know, a player has to play X amount of games with the team, and they have to make the playoffs. Well, you know, I think that there's an argument there that obviously when they were doing that X amount of games stuff, there was an expectation to be a full season, and not what it appears we're going to get here. You know, plus the fact that, you know, we might not even have a playoffs. I mean, how do you even go about sort of accounting for that?
Johnston went on to say if the NHL halts the cap space as of the date the season was paused, this will have an impact on the team's final cap hit number, which will then affect the following year's salary cap. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
Alberta has announced 2 new deaths because of COVID-19, including one at a care home. It's led to new rules for care homes as cases are starting to rise in multiple facilities across Alberta. Jeff Slack has more from Calgary.
There are a total of 968 people in Alberta infected with COVID-19. This includes 97 new cases found. 74 cases have been confirmed in continuing care facilities, including 65 at Calgary's Mackenzie Town Continuing Care Centre alone. And there are now outbreaks at 9 centres in the province. Chief Medical Officer of Health Dr. Dina Hinshaw announced new measures for care homes to try and prevent any more spread of the virus from occurring.
Under the new orders, staff and operators will be required to notify public health as soon as a case is suspected.
Were they not doing that as a matter of course? Or like some of this shit is just common sense. You shouldn't need a rule.
These new standards
shouldn't need a rule to tell you have to tell public health.
The
You
total
should
number of cases,
automatically.
more than 10%, 108 are believed to be through community transmission. I'm Jeff Slack.
No, I'm not
Federal
reporting
help is
anything
on
to
the way
fucking
for small
anybody that I'm
businesses
finding
impacted
broken and
by the
busted
pandemic,
because there's nobody
including
there to
your
fix it. I'm just gonna make it
local
worse.
spot to eat.
Now an organization in Toronto has started a relief fund, raising money for restaurants struggling to stay afloat.
Get to it later.
Danny has more on
Sooner or later, I'll get to all of it. I'll fix the
residents
street lights and the
Lazy
phones and
Daisy's
everything.
Cafe
Sooner or
on
later, I
Gerard is
will.
one of 30 spots to be selected as part of a new 30-day community-based fundraiser.
I was just over the moon. I was really humbled
Soldier.
to be part of the 30 because there are so many restaurants who are struggling right now.
Mobile
Taste Toronto
Urban
launched the
Response
initiative
Team.
last week.
I grew up
Already
in
they've
these
raised
streets, dog. Where you guys from? You gotta be
$10,500,
trained for that.
and the funds raised will be equally divided
Okay,
amongst
don't
the
kick in the
30
door.
at the end of the month.
Or the
Starting
windows.
next week, they're transitioning to
Please.
pickup and delivery,
drop the joint.
an
That
option
would
a
be
number of
sacrilege.
restaurants are looking into as they look for ways to make it through this crisis. But Restaurants Canada, a non-profit organization, estimates
Man,
that
if you find a
800,000
restaurant open
food
serving
service
something you like,
jobs
buy
have
it,
already been
because
lost across the
it's
country,
getting to where
and
they're
nearly
not
1 out of
open when
10
you think they're
restaurants
gonna
are closed
be.
permanently. If there's a
Who
restaurant
knows
you
if
would
they're
like
gonna
to
run out of
nominate that
stuff
could
or whatever.
benefit from being included in this fundraiser, you can head
Because
to our
why would you buy
website
more stock if there's less business? You can buy less
citynews.ca/extras. For
stock.
City News, I'm TVS Danny.
If you're
If they run out of
practicing
shit
good
to
physical
sell like an hour
distancing and
before
working from
closing, they're
home,
just
that
gonna
means
close
you're
an
not
hour
out on
earlier
the
instead of
road.
7-6.
As Marcus Fitzgerald
Closing
reports,
5
it's
the other day.
led to the car repair and service industry hurting.
We caught up with Adrian
I don't
Scoville
keep
with the
good
Automobile
logs. I keep
Retailers
good track. I
Association.
don't
He
keep
says
good
the
logs.
availability of trained technicians and mechanics
Bad
is one of the
logs.
biggest things. Those employees have the same fears as all of us.
And what's happening is that some of those technicians, for their own personal reasons, choose not to work or cannot.
I did not
Some of them
find
may
that
have
person,
a
nor did I hurt
compromised
them.
immune system, or a wife, or a husband, or somebody they're in contact with frequently.
And they were
the risk
biohazardous
is
and I
great
did not
for them.
have
So we're
any
seeing some of them,
PPE.
choosing not to work.
He says it varies the further up from Vancouver you go. Some car
Well,
shops
depending
towards
on
the valley
third
have a
party.
backlog of work to get to, but even that will
protect
thin
the
out
person.
after a few weeks. I'm Marcus Fitzgerald.
The subject.
This is All News Radio.
This
I
is
put my
All
hands on that
News
person,
Radio
yeah, they
on
fucking tried to throw
680.
blood at somebody.
In
Fuck
times
you.
like these, shouldn't your money
Now we
work
got
even
the
harder for
plexiglass
you?
shield,
We
right?
think so.
Yeah.
That's why at Duca Credit Union, you get no fee checking
I had
accounts.
blood thrown at
You
me
also
in
get high interest
January.
on
These
deposits and
motherfucking
investments
people are so
and low
fucked up
mortgage
out there.
rates. Plus, you get to share
And
the
how do I
profits.
go get
That's
tested
the
now and
Duca
then find out if
difference.
there's any, like,
And
I
now
wanna go
we're
to the
offering
hospital. Why?
2.5%
I'm
interest
sicker.
on your savings until March 31st, 2021. Find out how at earnmore.duca.com. Do more, be more, achieve more with Duca
Okay,
Credit
let's smoke a
Union.
joint, keep listening to the news. Do we
Switch
listen to
from
the
your
news for
current
10
alarm
minutes and
provider
then
today
put
and
music on?
save.
I'm a
The
little
Monitoring
confused. Can I
Center
get this to
reviews
work?
say it all. Join the tens of thousands of homeowners who wish they had switched to the Monitoring Center sooner. Call us today or visit us at themonitoringcenter.com for a free
Motherfucker!
quotation and
How
start
are you
saving
freezing?
now.
All you
Save
do is
security,
one
save
you're
the
a
Monitoring
risk
Center.
based,
Why?
you're a simplified
Because we
browser.
care.
It should run easily without me helping. Like, what the fuck?
This is 680 News.
From the 680 News Traffic Center, I'm Craig Gear. A bit of construction out there because our stalled vehicle on the West 401 at Islington and the Express is gone. With the West 401 ramp to Mississauga Road closed and both the 407 and both the Trafalgar ramps to and from the westbound 401 shut down for maintenance. Just a bit of roadwork happening on the eastbound 401 through Winston Churchill, and the Winston Churchill ramps onto the east 401 are also closed. The transfer into the collectors north of Burnham Thorpe northbound 427 is still blocked, as well as the ramp to Highway 7. All in all, not a bad drive out there if you have to be on the highways. We're in pretty good shape. Your next traffic report is at 3:01.
We're in pretty good shape. Nice
Sunshine in the
drive.
morning, cloud cover building in for the
Oh yeah,
afternoon. A high of
Canadian
10
war
degrees.
propaganda is a
Average for this time
little
of the year,
different than what
8.
you
More
expected.
cloud overnight down to
They
4
don't have
for
to
the morning
brainwash
low.
us. They just
Tomorrow,
have to
high
remind
11.
us of
Looks like a mix of sun and cloud throughout the afternoon hours. Rain showers early on Sunday, dry into the afternoon with a high of 12 degrees. Today, a high of 10.
Coming up at the top of the hour, the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. 138 people have now died in Canada as the case count has
That
surpassed
is crazy in
11,000.
Canada.
This has all levels
I
of
said from the
government
beginning,
reminding
all
Canadians
these things you should be
of
doing.
how
Like, you're bringing
important
people
physical
back that you
distancing
shouldn't, and you let
is to
people in
save
that you shouldn't.
lives.
The screenings,
Fines
there's
are now being issued
questions.
across the country if you're caught carrying on as if life hasn't changed. And we're
Oh
expecting
yeah, and because everybody
Ontario to
didn't
release
pick up the
its
slack where the
projections
government
today
didn't tell
for
them
just
to
how
fucking
many
be
people in that
careful.
province that
Government should have to tell you not to spit in people's faces, eh?
You're listening to All News Radio, a national newscast. Just a quick rundown for you of the case count across
otherwise,
the country.
I'd be still out there trying not to get sick, not knowing what would happen if I got sick.
That's nearly twice as much as the next closest province, Ontario, which has 2,793. British Columbia has 1,100 cases. The Prairie provinces combined for nearly 1,400, with the majority in Alberta. That province could surpass 1,000 alone on Friday. Atlantic Canada has reported 489 cases, and there are 8 cases combined in the territories. Good news, there are 1,968 people who have now fully recovered. Healthcare workers in Canada's federal prison system
that's not. This is the problem here too. You're not counting everybody.
In the next few days, over
you're not counting. There's no way. This shit's going crazy, man.
Debbie Daviau, president of the Professional Institute of Public Service of Canada, says prison nurses are imminently considering not showing up for work.
There's a real
please don't do that. Please don't do that. You know how bad things are.
Under the Canada Labor Code, they have the right to refuse unsafe work.
I agree.
They're getting there.
Daviau says her members understand there is a shortage of much-needed equipment, but she says there is no need to have every medical staffer at work in every institution as this pandemic spreads. Public Safety Minister Bill Blair has asked the Federal Prison Service and the Parole Board to look at early release for some offenders who spread behind bars.
I guess Tory's not so bad.
Doctors and nurses in the United States are protesting as they are forced to use the same personal protective equipment while treating COVID-19 patients.
Healthcare workers have got the same masks, the same eye protectors, and same outer clothing for days on end because of the shortages of crucial safety supplies. Doctors and nurses at Montefiore Hospital in New York City are saying enough is enough. Judy Sheridan Gonzalez is the president of the New York State Nurses Association.
We are demanding that we get all the hoarded supplies that exist of PPE so that we can protect ourselves, our families, and our beloved patients and communities. We can't do it if we're dead.
Governors talk of having to bid against each other and the federal government for critical equipment. Members of Congress, state officials, and doctors and nurses treating the growing number of COVID-19 patients say the federal government has to take control.
You can have a cartel on something like bread, but not milk.
The business report is coming up in 1 minute.
My name is Aaron Oxman. And in times of uncertainty, we can take solace in the thought that those that we care about,
instead of
$1.50, our friends, and those in our community are safe and are practicing physical distancing and staying at home. At my firm, I've encouraged staff to work from home and to follow the guidelines to staying safe. I know these are difficult times, but we can take this moment to reflect on how much we have to be grateful for. I wish you and your family only peace and good health.
I used to be one of those crazy jokers running a small business.
You don't give a fuck about me. You're worried about a virus you might get.
Look in the truck. Post QuickBooks, I get paid, stay organized, and run payroll. So now
one of these little graphics that I can tap on to comment says, "Stay home, sicko." That's all it says. Stay home, sicko.
Don't take no for an answer.
QuickBooks, the easy way to a happier business. For a limited time, save 90% when you buy Intuit QuickBooks. Visit QuickBooks.ca for full offer details.
The big story. I'm your host, Jordan Heath Rawlings. The latest on COVID-19 every morning. Listen at thebigstorypodcast.ca.
COVID-19, doesn't that sound like a movie, a video game, a car, or something? COVID, what's that, Saturn or something? Subaru? With the COVID-19,
on the second day of April.
I want the 20, not the
he's
19.
Expecting Saudi Arabia and Russia to significantly reduce oil production. U.S. President Donald Trump is now set to meet with oil company executives today to discuss aid for the industry after recent drops in prices. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin stated that energy companies will not get direct loans from his department, but that they can turn to the U.S. Fed's lending facilities. Wall Street finished higher by at least 1.7%. The Dow rose 469 points to 21,413. Oil giants Chevron and ExxonMobil contributed to the Dow's gains. Chevron soared 11%. ExxonMobil rose 7.6%. The S&P added 56 points to 2,526. NASDAQ gained 126 points to 7,487. As for the TSX, it saw a gain of 1.7%, or 221 points to 13,097. We had Suncor Energy higher by 7.9%, and Canadian Natural Resources up by 7.3%. oil logged its biggest one-day percentage gain ever. It surged nearly 25% to close at $25.32 a barrel. Western Canadian
25% is $5. It's not 25% when it was $120 a barrel.
2.9%, finishing at $1,637.
In absolute
for the first time
terms,
in
not
5
that
days.
much.
And the Canadian dollar was up by 28/100 of a cent, closing at
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm
78.73
real
US.
confused there.
Today, earnings are expected from alcohol giant Constellation Brands. And with more on what we're watching, here's Bloomberg's Larry Kofsky.
Today is Jobs Day. The government this morning
I put a semicolon instead of a colon, and I think I should fix that.
There, loss of 100,000 jobs at an
the
unemployment rate of 3.8%. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
At the Business Center, I'm Carl Garnash.
Ontario's doctors are working with government to provide the best possible advice about coronavirus. Take these 5 easy steps to protect yourself. 1. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. 2. Cough or sneeze into your sleeve. 3. Avoid touching your face. 4. Stay home.
You don't fucking touch my
5.
face.
Disinfect heavily touched surfaces. For more
I'll touch
information,
my face
visit
all I want, and you don't fucking say a word about it.
ontario.ca/coronavirus. This message is brought to you by the Ontario Medical Association.
At Tim Hortons, we're proud to serve all of our communities across Canada. And we're thinking about you. That's why we've made some changes recently. So for a limited time, we're offering you free delivery from Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes. Tim Hortons, proudly serving our communities.
As an essential service, Roto-Rooter wants you to know that they remain ready to help you with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs. Thank you for understanding as they take preventative measures to ensure everyone's health is a top priority. Contact them at rotorooter.com.
680 News is CFTRAM.
Toronto. You're listening to All News Radio, a national newscast.
National
Number 1 for breaking news. This is All News Radio.
It's Friday, April 3rd. Good morning. I'm Jared Launchbury. Here's what's making news right now. With more than 11,000 cases of COVID-19 in Canada, the government at all levels stressing the importance of physical distancing to flatten the curve. Canadians are getting involved to crack down on those who can't follow rules.
It will be hard to hear. That's what Premier
The
Doug
whole world
Ford said
shares
about
spit
data being
droplets,
released
apparently.
Friday showing how many Ontarians could die from COVID-19.
Calls are increasing to make changes at care homes across the country as cases mount and more people are killed. A shortage of medical supplies is looming, but new research suggests the single-use gear that's in such high demand could maybe be used more than once.
In sports, with the NBA season on pause, the league is exploring the possibility of holding its postseason from Vegas, March 15.
North American markets are coming off a winning session as the U.S. president prepares to meet with oil industry executives today. And earnings action continues with alcohol giant Constellation Brands set to report.
More on these stories coming up in 1 minute on All News Radio. From the 680 News Traffic Center, I'm Craig Gear. It's a really nice drive if you have to be out there, if you're traveling on most of our highways.
Nice drive.
Problem-free.
Nice
we just have a bit of construction
Stay
out
home,
there.
but it's a nice
so if you're
drive.
trying to get onto the eastbound
Stay
401 from
home.
the
It's a
Winston
nice
Churchill
drive.
ramps,
Gas is
that'll be a
cheap. Stay
problem for you.
home.
These are closed off.
The
We
economy's
also
falling
have on
apart
the
unless you
westbound
buy
401, the
stuff.
ramp
Stay
to
home.
Mississauga Road has been closed. We have the
How the fuck do
407
you handle
ramps
that? You
onto
got
the
a big
West
stack of
401
money
shut down,
and
and the
nothing to do.
Trafalgar ramps to and from the westbound 401 also blocked off. If you're trying to transfer into the collectors on the northbound 427, just heads up, you won't be able to north of Burnhamthorpe, and the ramp to Highway 7's blocked as well. Your next report is at 3:11. Here's the forecast.
Above seasonal temperatures again during the day today. Some sunshine in the morning, cloud cover building in throughout the afternoon. Your high temperature this afternoon does settle in near 10 degrees. We'll see winds that'll be out of the north. They'll be breezy at times up to 45 kilometers per hour. More cloud moves in overnight. Today, a high of 10.
With more than 11,000 cases of COVID-19 in Canada and 138 deaths, the Prime Minister continues to stress the importance of physical distancing to prevent further spread and save lives. Justin Trudeau says too many Canadians are going on needless outings, carrying on with their lives, putting health workers at risk, and threatening everyone who might need medical care.
While many of you are staying home and limiting trips to the grocery store, too many still aren't.
You know,
What
you're
the
not
experts
missing
are telling
nothing.
us is that we must
You're
do
not,
everything
there's
we
enough
can
people going on
today
doing
and
stuff. If
tomorrow
there's something weird going
to
on,
set
you'd
us
heard
on the
about
right
it.
path for next week and next month.
Not even any cars getting vandalized.
None of the jobs lost as a result of the pandemic or the efforts to crank up the national systems for distributing goods will be worth it if Canadians don't just stay home as much as possible. The Prime Minister held a virtual meeting with the country's premiers last night. They spoke for a couple of hours about COVID-19, including data sharing, coordination, and projections. Toronto is cracking down on those ignoring distancing rules. Mayor John Tory is fed up, so the city is mounting a blitz of city parks.
This is an all-hands-on-deck effort. We have a COVID-19 enforcement team, including Toronto Public Health, Toronto Police, and municipal licensing.
I did roll a joint. Hey, I'm looking at this thing and I got to roll it, but I got one.
Officers along with public health and police officers, including the mounted unit. Around 15 sets of concrete blocks are being dropped at parking lot entrances.
Tory is also asking parking enforcement officers to patrol neighborhoods to help educate people about the dangers posed.
That's not going to work. Those guys are assholes. They are.
In a recent poll, 64% of respondents said they've witnessed people getting together and hanging out. Now Canadians are turning to police to report those not following physical distancing measures. Alicia Bertucci reports.
In Montreal, if you don't respect the rules, you could face fines ranging from $1,000 to $6,000. In Vancouver, it's up to $1,000. In Toronto, from $750 to $5,000. Montreal Public Health says police have already issued dozens of tickets for these reasons. This philosophy professor at Laval University says reporting someone should be the last resort.
It can be very frustrating. You can see that some of our fellow citizens are not doing their share, are not cooperating. In many situations, we should just try to talk to the people or just hope that the authorities, will catch up on them at some point.
Government at all levels and authorities say not to hesitate and report citizens who aren't following social distancing and no gathering rules.
Right now.
Alicia Bertucci, City News.
Health officials are prepared to take aggressive measures to track and contain infected people.
Clause and all that shit.
Employing digital and mobile
strategies. We never even made it to the quarantine, Zach. Never made it to that.
Suppression has been more successful.
We never really
the coronavirus rapid entry case and contact management system would allow trackers to input essential case information that can be shared from province to province. You're listening to All News Radio, a national newscast. The Ontario government will be providing an update today, and it's expected to include numbers that could be hard to see. The province's top doctors will release modeling data showing various scenarios about how many people in that province could die from COVID-19. Madison Fitzpatrick joins us with a preview.
Premier Doug Ford says the figures will be a real wake-up call, but believes the people in the province have the right to know.
You deserve the same information I have. You deserve to see the same data that I see when I'm making decisions.
Previously, Ford had delayed releasing this information for various reasons, including that Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health needed time to compile figures and take into account the large influx of people. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Thursday night he's not able to share a national picture just yet, but will be able to soon. Currently, in the province, there are more than 2,700 confirmed cases and over 50 deaths. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
The Alberta government believes the peak in that province will happen in early May.
We now have enough data to model informed projection about what lies ahead. And as I said, the government will be providing much of that information in the days to come once it is finalized.
Premier Jason Kenney says Alberta Health Services has freed up 1,300 acute care beds and will have 2,250 beds available by April 22nd. Continuing care centers in Canada are COVID-19 hotbeds, accounting for almost half the deaths from the virus. Now the calls are getting louder for owners of the mostly privately operated for-profit centers to make potentially life-saving changes.
In Ontario, almost 24 residents have died at a nursing home in Bobcaygeon. And there are reports the province is looking for volunteers to deal with staffing shortfalls. Not a great call, according to Alberta Union of Public Employees VP Mike Dempsey.
If they had a blizzard one day, didn't have enough snowplow operators, would you grab somebody who'd never driven a snowplow?
Yeah, in the country you would, because that road got to get cleared by.
See where the Lynn Valley Care Center
good, keep between the ditches. That's good, that's good.
The health officer has taken control of staffing homes in the Vancouver area for the next 6 months. A much better call, says Dempsey.
The regulation from federal to provincial level is so tenuous. I think that's a long-term solution, probably is too late to be effective now.
I'm Jonathan Mielma.
The federal government and provinces are stepping up to get the badly needed medical supplies for our frontline workers. But what if we could reuse some of the gear? Early testing has shown promise when it comes to sterilizing medical masks for reuse inside hospitals, instead of throwing them out every time they're worn. Mark Neufeld is in Winnipeg and is talking with the research team.
Dr. Anand Kumar, along with a team of researchers at the University of Manitoba and the National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg, say they have discovered a way to safely decontaminate several types of medical masks that are normally disposed of after each use. Masks, Kumar says, that could be put back into circulation to protect frontline workers.
Well, it was pretty obvious that there were going to be significant shortages. The frontline healthcare workers who really need these masks.
Kumar says the idea was to find a way to successfully clean the masks without compromising their structural integrity or functionality. Now, the findings are based on preliminary test results and need to be peer-reviewed, but Kumar says he is excited about what this could mean in helping with the fight against COVID-19.
Science is all about replication and proof. We're confident of our results.
Mark Neufeld, City News.
Times are definitely tough right now between staying home, not seeing family and friends, and mass job losses. There's understandably some negative energy across the country and world. Now Newmarket, Ontario is stepping up to make sure its residents stay positive with a newly formed positivity committee.
Our theme is stand apart together.
Next time I'll try. Some are even hosting virtual community concerts.
It's been really great to see people connect through just going on Facebook Live, and so that's what I've been trying to do as part of my role as a community positivity ambassador.
They say at a time like this, love, kindness, and positivity is what people in the community really need.
Positivity can be something as small as just changing your routine, just changing your perspective and how you look at things.
So take a look at some of their causes, and live virtual concerts. You can go to our website, citynews.ca/extras. City News.
This is All News Radio, a national newscast.
HSBC Bank has one of Canada's lowest mortgage rates.
Hey, open up.
In fact, they're so good our lawyers are nervous.
This isn't funny. This is serious.
For a limited time, get an interest rate of 1.99% on a 3-year fixed closed-term high-ratio mortgage.
Let me in.
Oh, hey, legal.
Finally.
Rates are subject to change without notice. A high-ratio mortgage is when a customer obtains a personal mortgage with mortgage default insurance with HSBC Bank Canada. Visit hsbc.ca/first home for details and restrictions.
HSBC. Together we thrive.
There's a place right in the heart of busy Mississauga that you may not have heard of. A serene woodland oasis where you can connect with nature year-round. The Riverwood Conservancy is the perfect setting to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. Enjoy a heart-healthy walk along the beautiful Armstrong Wild Bird Trek. Have a chickadee feed from your hand. Or take part in exciting family-friendly programs. To find out more, visit the riverwoodconservancy.org.
Not freckles, they're speckles.
The latest
model.
weather is always
not model,
on the ones.
This is 680
Fucking idiot, Frank. I'm not. You're sick. No, I just have a cold. Not the coronavirus. Yeah, that's the cold is the coronavirus.
We have a bit of construction blocking the Winston Churchill ramps onto the eastbound 401. That's pretty much it. On the westbound side of the highway, the ramp to Mississauga Road is closed. At the 407, the ramps onto the highway, westbound 401, are also blocked, as well as the Trafalgar ramps to and from the westbound 401. Northbound 427 transfer into the collectors north of Burnhamthorpe has been shut down, as well as the ramp off the highway to Highway 7. A few other lane restrictions here and there, but we're up to speed across the board. Your next traffic report is at 3:21. Here's a look at the forecast.
A clear morning and a partly cloudy afternoon. Daytime highs above seasonal again, 10 degrees in the forecast. We have a north wind that'll be up to 45 kilometers per hour. Bit more cloud cover on the way throughout the overnight. 4 degrees the morning low. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy for most of the day. A few peaks of sunshine, a high of 11. Today, 10.
An Edmonton woman battling a rare cancer at home has received a much-needed dose of love from some very coordinated neighbors.
Julie Rohr wasn't sure what to initially make of her husband's Wednesday night request. Then the time came.
bunch of my other neighbor ladies came running in kind of one by one and started with this choreographed dance, and it just was the most heartwarming thing. I was in tears and I was laughing.
The show of affection taking the place of another long-standing neighborhood tradition.
Wednesdays are a book club night, and a lot of those women are in my book club. So they just wanted to show me they were thinking of me, and I think actually we might be even more connected in this time because we're taking intentional steps to reach out to each other.
In Edmonton, Cordy Terrio, City News.
This is All News Radio.
The big story.
I'm your host, Jordan Heath Rawlings. Join us every day for comfort and companionship from self-isolation. Listen at thebigstorypodcast.ca or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Government of Canada and public health experts are taking action to protect Canadians from COVID-19. Protect yourself and others, especially those with medical conditions and older adults. Wash your hands often. Avoid touching your face. Cough or sneeze into your arm and disinfect surfaces. You should also avoid crowded places. Avoid all non-essential travel. And if you're sick, stay home. To learn more, visit canada.ca/coronavirus. A message from the Government of Canada.
While you are hopefully staying safe and healthy, many of you are probably at home. Maybe use the time to spring clean, like that old car taking up space in your garage. When you donate your car to Cars for Kids, that old car lives on by giving kids a chance to succeed. You can donate online in the comfort of your home, and the pickup can be contact-free. You'll receive a tax credit.
Why would you
See for
have to
yourself how
contact
simple it
anyway?
is.
That's
Go to
weird.
carsforkids.ca or call
Pick it up and drive away,
877 Cars for Kids now to donate. Remember, that's Cars with a K.
This is All News Radio. Good morning. I'm Jared Launchbury. Thanks for joining us. Here's what's making news right now. All levels of government stressing once again the importance of physical distancing as we surpassed 11,000 cases as a country with 138 killed. A recent poll found 64% of Canadians have witnessed people not adhering to the new measures. That has Canadians even calling police to report them. Fines now being issued in some of Canada's major cities, including Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. Meantime, Ontario getting ready today to provide a grim forecast. It will be releasing projections for how many people in that province could be killed by COVID-19 when all is said and done.
I'm Gene Rana from Sportsnet. With the NBA season on hiatus due to the coronavirus pandemic, the league is exploring possibilities of how and when action might resume. One of the reported ideas, according to Sports Illustrated senior writer Chris Mannix, is the NBA's entire postseason could take place from Las Vegas as 16 teams battle for the championship. This could also include a condensed playoff tournament, while holding all games in a single city would allow teams to play within the confines of a quarantine and eliminate the need for travel. The NBA was the first major professional league in North America to suspend its season due to COVID-19 concerns. And according to Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver saw this coming weeks before the stoppage.
We have gone for an NBA Africa board meeting. And it was about 5 or 6 of us in the room, and he told us where this was going, you know, like, and what he was hearing. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, is he like overreacting, or is he, you know, and he was right.
While the NHL remains on pause, and with these uncertain times, lots of questions arise, like what this means for next year's cap space, along with transactions made earlier this season. And according to Sportsnet's Chris Johnston, the league will have a tough time circumventing around this.
Especially with me, just that, you know, around February 24th is the deadline. Their player has to play X amount of games with the team, and they have to make the playoffs. Well, you know, I think that there's an argument there that obviously when they were doing that X amount of games stuff, there was an expectation to be a full season and not what it appears we're going to get here. You know, plus the fact that, you know, we might not even have a playoffs. I mean, how do you even go about sort of accounting for that?
Johnston went on to say if the NHL halts the cap space as of the day the season was paused, this will have an impact on the team's final cap hit number, which will then affect the following year's salary cap. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
We need to do better. Those are the words of British Columbia's increasingly frustrated health minister. As the province records 6 more COVID-19 deaths, that's the highest one-day loss so far. Marcella Bernardo joins us from Vancouver.
Adrian Dick says more needs to be done when it comes to making sure Canadians coming home from other countries are isolating themselves.
I think we can do better, and we've had these discussions now with the federal government at airports and at border crossings, and the federal government needs to enforce the Quarantine Act.
Meanwhile, BC's top doctor says one inmate at the Okanagan Correctional Centre has tested positive.
The person who became ill was isolated, and the people in the pod that he was in are all being monitored now. So
yeah, they're going to stay in that pod.
Cases, but it takes time.
You know, you're not
Dr.
getting
Bonnie
out.
Henry says Vancouver Island has also recorded its first 2 deaths, but 641 people have now fully recovered. I'm Marcella Bernardo.
Health officials in the Greater Toronto Area are apologizing for sending the wrong test results to more than a dozen people. Peel Region's interim medical officer of health says they accidentally mailed letters to 16 residents informing them that they tested negative for COVID-19, when in fact they actually tested positive. The letters were issued Tuesday and Wednesday. The infected people are now being tracked down. Peel Region says they have made changes to their mailing process to ensure that the situation doesn't happen again in the future. The spread is showing no signs of slowing just yet. There are now more than 1 million cases worldwide. The grim milestone was reached as 2 cruise ships carrying Canadians have docked in Florida.
They've been at sea for over 25 days, but their long journey is finally coming to an end. The 2 Holland America cruise ships with close to 250 Canadians on board have been cleared to dock in Florida. Now, during the trip, over 200 guests and crew members fell ill, and 4 passengers died. A second cruise ship was brought out, and healthy passengers were transferred to that vessel.
No, don't do shit like that. That's how you spread it.
For several days after Chile and other ports along its path denied its permission to make
you're not
matters worse.
going here.
The Florida governor initially said he did not want the ships to dock in Florida. He has since changed his mind, saying he wants everyone safe. The Prime Minister says the Canadians will be brought back to Canada on a government-chartered flight, and when they return, they'll be subject to the 14-day
Notice they're not using government
self-isolation
planes, they're just
like
paying for
everyone
private
else.
planes. They're
I'm
not using government planes.
You're listening to All News Radio.
This is 680 News.
Toronto. At Easy Financial, we understand unexpected situations can cause financial stress.
Holy fuck, really?
If you're looking for a financial solution you can count on, we want you to know we're here to help. With loans up to $45,000, Easy Financial can help get you the money you need as soon as today. Our commitment to helping everyday Canadians has never been stronger. Apply in minutes at easyfinancial.com or call your local branch. Easy Financial.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking about purchasing parts online.
We understand. You've put in a hard day's work when your pieces of equipment broke and you need a part. And we understand time is money, so our shipping is fast.
It's like ordering takeout, but for your equipment.
Right. Belts, filters, spark plugs.
Oh my!
All the most popular parts when you need them. And when you spend $50 or more on parts, shipping is free.
Put a part in your cart at KoiBros.com.
KOOYPROS.com.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day. This is 680 News.
From the 680 News Traffic Center, I'm Craig Gear. This report brought to you by 407 ETR. Some construction out there blocking the Winston Churchill ramps onto the eastbound 401. Westbound 401 ramp to Mississauga Road's closed. The 407 ramps to the west 401 as well. And the Trafalgar ramps to and from the westbound 401 forecast.
Sunshine in the morning, cloud in the afternoon, a high of 10 in the forecast. Average for this time of the year, 8 degrees. More cloud overnight, down to 4. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 12 in the forecast. Today, heading up to a high of 10 degrees.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. 138 Canadians have now been killed, and there are more than 11,000 cases reported in Canada. All levels of government speaking to the importance of physical distancing once again to flatten the curve, although some are still ignoring this new way of life. And we're expecting an update in Ontario today that will include projections for just how deadly this pandemic could be in that province. You're listening to All News Radio, a national newscast. Just a quick rundown for you now of the case count across the country. Quebec leads the way with more than 5,500 infections, nearly twice as much as the next closest province, Ontario, which is 2,793. British Columbia has 1,100 cases, and the Prairie provinces combined for nearly 1,400, with the majority in Alberta. That province could surpass 1,000 alone today. Atlantic Canada reporting 489 cases, and there are 8 cases combined in the territories. And on a lighter note, 1,968 Canadians who were infected have now fully recovered.
On a lighter note,
Prime Minister Trudeau says he's very concerned about reports that medical supplies destined for Canada have been diverted to the United States. He's asked the Public Safety Minister and Transport Minister to look into this.
Everybody gets all grabby when it comes to public health.
Of course, they're concerning. We need to make sure that equipment that is destined for Canada gets to and stays in Canada, and I've asked ministers to follow up.
They're not worried about insulin, but
reports.
they're worried about.
Trudeau says millions of face masks are already being distributed to provinces and territories. It might be a while before we see...
Yeah, we rep for the street niggas, man. The voice of the streets, the black top. Yeah. The niggas that be on the soil, on the turf, out here, boy. You know what I mean? Hey, we got that military shit, nigga. Bullets by the ton.
These rappers be tripping. Shit used to be cold, now cooking in the kitchen. Right slash sunny, listen, lane switching.
Like, what the fuck is the point in this?
I'm not here to stay. You ask them what I'm burning. Smoking Mumbai, who are they?
Let me just start over again. I don't give a fuck. I'll go for a walk.
We bringing so much smoke, the streets catching all the fuck. Bro, this my job. Fire behind the power, I'll devour like the mob. Man, everyone got a prop. Keep it humble in the meantime. You'll see why I got a gut in a state.
This is useless. This is not functional and therefore useless.
Travel and then skedaddle. Go meet the devil. Start to give me space. So if I get lucky with this money, then I'll be pulling that ace.
Medicine, you know we got that medical. Ready to young her, nigga with some hooligans. Ready to young her, nigga with some hooligans. And this for my haters though. Yeah, we got that greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know that shit is medical. Ready to young with some hooligans. Man, I be grinding, I'm on my grind, bro. And I be smoking on that killer that be that but famous nigga, yeah, you know we getting high, yo. Smoking. Why are you even